It's harder on the poor. It's harder on minorities. This is an attempt to fix that.
Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy calls the new bail system a step towards decriminalizing poverty.
Under the old system, the judicial commissioner would make kind of a off the top of their head determination about bail. It was often unaffordable, and then people would languish behind bars at 201 Poplar for months, sometimes even years.
Under the new system, people at 201 Poplar will be able to go to a bail hearing courtroom within 72 hours of their arrest. Depending on their financial status, a new bail will be set, and depending on their crime, it could potentially help people avoid waiting for months for a court date.
Is this person a danger to the community, or is there a significant risk that they'll flee the jurisdiction? If so, we keep them locked up until trial. But if not, then we need to set a bail amount that they could actually afford.
However, not everyone feels this is in the county's best interest. Kimberly Charles from All-in-One Bonding and Insurance tells ABC 24 it's unfair to victims to have people released without recourse and could lead to people becoming repeat offenders due to the jail being a revolving door. But Mulroy argues there's no need to worry.
All right, guys, we got to talk about Memphis, Tennessee, one of the most violent, if not the most violent city in the country. And it just so happens to also be a city that is run by woke Democrats that are determined to continue to embolden criminals with soft on crime policies. Okay, they have a woke DA out there that believes in bail reform, the same bail reform that we've seen destroy cities like San Francisco, cities like New York, etc. All of these cities, these liberal cities that are implementing this bail reform, they have had disastrous consequences and deadly results. And we have to talk about another deadly consequence of woke bail reform here, as we have to discuss the tragic slaying of a Memphis police officer who was gunned down by a young scholar after responding to a suspicious vehicle report. Now, he was just one of 3 police officers who were shot, okay, during this incident by this suspect. And I want to go ahead and play this clip because stories like this are becoming far too common in this country, a country now where, again, it's become the trendy thing to basically demonize and hate police, which has resulted in disastrous consequences. Again, it's something that I really have to emphasize because it's only getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Take a look.
One, we're going to take this live. Mayor Paul Young is with her. Let's go.
This morning, the Memphis Police Department, the men and women of the Memphis Police Department are hurt right now. As Chief of Police, I am hurt right now. At once again, senseless deaths in our community by gun violence. Today we are here not just to talk about what happened last night, but to make an appeal to our community that gun violence has to stop. At approximately 2 a.m., officers responded to a suspicious vehicle call at Horn Lake Road in Charter Avenue. When officers approached the vehicle, they were fired upon by the occupants inside. Officers then returned fire. At that time, the suspect took off, and MPD officers pursued the vehicle for a short distance, where the vehicle stopped in the area of the 400 block of Hewlett Road. The 2 suspects were apprehended at that time. One suspect was taken into custody immediately. One fled the scene and was located nearby. A total of 3 officers were struck by gunfire. Tragically, one of our officers lost his life. That officer is Joseph McKinney. He was assigned to the range station, Alpha Shift. The second officer was brought here to Regional 1. But thankfully, he has been upgraded to non-critical condition and he's doing well. The third officer was treated on the scene and is in stable condition. One suspect was 18 years old and the other suspect is 17 years old. Both suspects were transported to Regional 1 in critical condition. Both of them sustained gunfire as well. One suspect has been pronounced deceased. The 18-year-old suspect was arrested in March 2024 by MPD in a stolen vehicle with an illegal modified semi-automatic weapon with a Glock switch attached. The Glock switch converted the weapon to a fully automatic machine gun. He was also charged at that time for 2 stolen vehicles and having a programming device commonly used to steal cars. The suspect was released at that time without bond. We have notified the district attorney's office to assist in this investigation, and we have also
Yeah, so how many more police officers have to die before we realize that we have a problem in this country? Okay, because what's going to happen is just going to get worse. I actually really do fear the state of chaos that this country will be in when it gets to a point where basically all of the police departments in this country are chronically understaffed because quite literally nobody wants to do the profession anymore. Okay, between the demonization of police and these soft on crime policies that basically make it pointless to do the job of policing itself, I don't think that this is going to end well for this country, right? I really don't. Okay, I think that our country is going to be headed to a dark place because of the attack on police officers that we're seeing and the fact that nobody wants to sign up for the job. But hey, it's an interesting experiment, okay? It really is, because there are people that seem to think that this country is going to be better off when police are in a position where it is becoming harder and harder and harder for them to do their jobs, okay? And that's where the country's headed. And I've always said this about policing, and I think it's a double-edged sword. I think that there's pros and cons to everything, okay? Nothing is going to be perfect. There are trade-offs. They're not solutions, okay? I definitely understand that there are going to be bad apples, and I think that bad apples should be punished. But it's at the point now where, again, it's not even about punishing bad apples anymore. People just are opposed to policing in general, or the concept of policing, or, police doing their jobs in general, right? And that is what is happening. What you see here with the soft on crime bail reform policy is that this individual, this 18-year-old, was arrested last month on auto theft charges and released without bond. 18-year-old Jaylen Lobley was arrested in March 2024 for possessing a switch while stealing a car, admitting to stealing both an Infiniti Q50 and Dodge Charger, reported stolen March 2nd and March 3rd, respectively. Officers found the handgun after arresting him on March 5th. The 18-year-old told investigators he took the gun from a car he was trying to steal about 6 months prior. He was charged with 2 counts of motor vehicle theft, unlawful possession of a weapon, prohibited weapon, and 2 counts of vandalism. On March 7th, Lobley was released on his own recognizance with conditions that included agreeing to weekly call-ins and curfew approved by the General Sessions Court. However, the judge who released the suspect without bond was not named in the Shelby County judicial system. Yeah, so I'm sure that didn't work, right? Clearly and obviously, this didn't help, okay? Didn't help. Mulroy said Lobley was facing federal prosecution despite being a first-time offender, adding that the prosecution aligned with the firm's violent crime initiative. So it is obvious that he knew he should not be in possession of, and as the police approached the vehicle, he started to fire on the police because he knew that police were going to arrest him again. Now, who knows? He probably would have been let back out on the streets, but I don't think he wanted to go through that process again. He decided, I'm going to open fire on the police, and one of the police ended up losing their lives, right? And 2 others ended up getting shot. But again, this happened because this individual who has a history of crime, okay, stealing cars, stealing vehicles, weapons charges, it's just let back out on the streets. Just let back out on the streets. So again, this is the result of these soft on crime policies. This is what you're seeing in these cities. People are losing their lives. People are literally dying behind this stuff. Police officers and civilians alike. And I think that the worst part of this really is the attention that this is going to get from the media. You guys remember what happened in Memphis with the 6 police officers and the one man, okay, that ended up getting beat to death, unfortunately, by the police officers. Okay, tragic situation. The media covered that for days, weeks, covered it, right? But how much is the media going to cover the fact that Joseph McKinney lost his life? Is the media going to say his name the same way they say the name of somebody like Tyree Nichols, who also died in Memphis as a result of police brutality? Why is it that his death gets more attention than the death of Officer Joseph McKinney? I don't get it. I don't really understand. That's what really blows my mind. I think that this is just as tragic, right? When a police officer takes the life of an innocent civilian unjustly, I think that is tragic. I think that is bad. But I also think it's just as bad when you have a police officer needlessly lose his life because the system has failed to properly lock up criminals and to keep them off the streets, after the police already initially did their jobs of getting them off the streets. If we had just as much outrage over that, then maybe things would be different. Maybe people would want to sign up to be police officers again. Maybe these cities wouldn't have so much of a big issue trying to recruit police officers. And that way they can put more units out in these neighborhoods in order to keep these neighborhoods safe. And then less civilians will lose their lives overall. There'll be less crime. There'll be less businesses getting shut down because of theft. There'll be less vehicles stolen. But no, we're at a state in this country where no. We only really care about the victims of police brutality, but we don't care about when police lose their lives unjustly at the hands of criminals. We don't give that same type of energy that we do to people who lose their lives at the hands of police, even if they're a criminal, right? We care more about a criminal losing their life at the hands of police than we do about a police officer losing their life at the hands of a criminal. Our society is so ass backwards when it comes to our priorities. And again, this is why we have so much chaos and destruction. It's really that simple. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.